Welcome back to Vegas Live with Ninon. Of course, we're filming out of Las Vegas at Quirky Minds Media. Absolutely amazing. And of course, James Kelly has given us the studio and we're doing absolutely fabulous hair. So nothing is going to stop Vegas Live with Ninon off being out there. I have a fabulous guest. And as you know, I don't really know much what my guests do. I believe he's in the promotional department. I'm not quite sure. But his name is Terry Boykins. How are you? Oh, look at him. He's all dressed up. You were all dressed up for COVID.
I am. I'm prepared for COVID.
You're definitely prepared for COVID. Have you had this this problem yet? Have you had
I've not had COVID.
You haven't had COVID.
No.
I don't think he's going to get it either. He's a mile away from me. He's got glasses on. He's got his mask on, and he's got his cap on.
Yes.
I feel like I'm with a stranger, but I love it because you're going according to how it should be.
Yes.
And you're being very, very good. What exactly do you do? I see something on your
You see that?
hat. Yes.
Daughters' lives matter.
Daughters' lives matter, and that's a great statement. We don't take care of our daughters as much as we should, do we?
Not as much as some of the reports of domestic violence.
That's what I presume that's where you're going, and that's what
Right.
you kind of do. And we don't. Domestic violence, which means a lot of violence with daughters at home.
Yes.
Why does that happen? Because it's usually the father. Why would a father ever even think of doing anything to his daughter?
Well, you went right there.
I don't.
You went there. You went there. And I think it's not just because of the father. It's because of the father oftentimes not being involved in his daughter's life at a young enough age and teaching her the core principles that we at Daughters' Lives Matter like to focus on. There's 3 core principles in
Okay.
a father that we believe are critical to her well-being.
To his daughter.
That's
Because
correct.
let's just call it what it is, because this is his child that he conceived in love, hopefully, and the child's come into the world, and now all this strange stuff happens.
Yes, it does happen. And we believe, Ninon, that a father should be engaged in 3 key principles.
Okay, what are those?
Education attainment.
Now, when you talk about education, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the education they bring home from school, or are you talking about the education of life in home?
You are brilliant.
Well, 2 things, lots of things, right?
So they're both.
Both of them.
Education in the streets and in the sheets.
I like that. To the point.
To the point. This is how I roll.
Why does a father suddenly decide this is his daughter, this is his flesh and blood, literally, and now he's decided to have an affair with this girl? Because I presume that's what we're talking about.
Not totally.
Not totally, no, because it could be verbal as well.
It could be.
Yes, it could be verbal, but a lot of it is, as you say, between the sheets.
And so when you talk about education in the sheets and in the streets, knowing exactly, does she know the game? Does she know the Pimp Proof game?
Of course she doesn't know. We hope she doesn't know.
And so she should know.
In school.
And on the streets.
She should know from the school, she should know from the streets, and from her home. But I would imagine that this should be taught more from the home,
Yes.
because it's a very personal thing for any young child to actually discuss, because most children feel very much ashamed of talking about anything to do with sex or anything to do with a man and a woman together,
That's
or
correct.
they're very inferior of it. They're like, we all shrink back on it.
Well, we got education attainment, and then the next principle we have is victimization prevention.
What's that?
Well, a father should be able to talk to his daughter about her personal safety and teaching her what is involved with regards to her being manipulated, what involves her being coerced to a situation where her personal safety is at risk, how she can become trapped with
But
somebody.
she doesn't know. She
With what
doesn't know.
she doesn't know.
She doesn't know she is being trapped.
Correct.
Now, when you say the father, should the mother be there as well to protect the daughter so that the daughter feels secure with another female there?
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Because being a female, that mother may have been in a situation where she, in her naivety, has gotten her to a situation. So fathers, as men, have different makeups and ideologies and procedures about doing things in life than a woman does.
Absolutely, yes.
So this is why we say mothers, invaluable, priceless. But what we're talking about is dealing with that male spirit. And that father understands, to a degree, how to move that male spirit into her education so she understands the game.
Yes.
So the third component in principle is poverty avoidance.
Yes.
When she does not understand what could come her way, she's in love,
Yes.
looking for love in all the wrong places.
Well, you know, there's two things in this world that everybody needs, and that is, one is love. We all want to be loved one way or another, and the second thing is music.
Yeah.
Those are the two things we really can't do without in this world. But we all thrive, and if we don't get love, we get a cat, we get a dog, we get, we get all sorts of, so we can
That's
have
right.
something to love. That's the reason we do that, because dogs and animals and they sort of give you anything. They give you what you want without coming back to you.
Yeah. And we do both. Matter of fact, we do love and we do music. We'll talk about that if there's time.
Yes.
But the poverty avoidance, so here it is. You have a situation where even if a woman's doing well,
Yes.
she's got everything laid out, but she's looking for love.
Yes.
She's looking for affirmation, and she'll turn over to that man all the things she's worked hard for
Yes.
to ensure that he's accepting her. And guess what? He may manipulate her. He may empty her bank account.
Well, yes, and that's because she's never probably been taught any of that,
That's
or,
correct.
or never been sort of sat down. So this is actually a lot to do with, this could be taught in school, but I think it would be too mixed up. But I think this is something that really should be taught at home. Not all at once, but I think that if it's taught, from this age and then a little bit more this age and a little bit more this age,
Correct.
and then when kids get into the teenage department, I mean, that's when all the hormones and everything are flying
Everything's
around.
flying.
And sometimes they don't know the difference. So if the father is doing something to his daughter, she might think every other family does the same thing. She doesn't know.
Well, she doesn't, but all we have to make sure we understand and we are clear
Okay.
that not all fathers are doing wrong things to their daughters.
Okay, good.
Let's just be
Yes.
clear.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of great fathers out there.
There's some wonderful
There's some-
fathers
yes,
out there.
yes, there are. There
And
are.
and I think some of the stigma. So we are advocating for healthy father-daughter relationships
Yes.
because, when you talk about a woman going it alone as
Yes.
a result of raising a child,
Yeah.
that could be devastating.
I think the whole thing of a daughter is sort of devastating. And sometimes, you see these young kids, and I never know why the mothers do allow this, but you see them in very short skirts and
Yeah.
very low things, and they're practically naked, some of them. And you look at it and you say, well, and then they say, oh, my kid got raped, and my kid, well, is this not an advertisement to the guys that, is it or isn't it? Because some girls turn around and say, well, this is how I like to dress.
Well,
So what's wrong with that?
Well, but see, here's the thing. It all depends on what exactly she's looking for and what she's needing.
Ah.
She may use whatever she's got to get the attention that she
That she
needs
wants.
emotionally. So
Yeah.
if I know I got nice breasts and I got curves and I got a nice
All the
little
stuff
behind,
yeah.
if I got things that I know it's going to give, all I'm looking for is that
Attention.
ounce of attention. And so once I get it,
So they think that's the way to get it, even though they're that young,
many of them do.
even though that young. So what about the boys? I mean, do we have any problems with the boys? Because we're talking about the girls and everything with the father and daughter. How about father and son?
Well, father and sons is a totally different category. You know how you talked about how these should be done in phases?
Yes.
The same thing, and I've dealt with mentoring for fathers and sons for longer than I've dealt with fathers and daughters.
Really, I didn't know that.
The reason why I went to deal with fathers and daughters is because of the work I did with fathers and sons. So if you talk about breaking the cycle.
Yes, we need to break the cycle.
Correct. So what do boys become? Boys become fathers, boys become men.
Yes.
And if you...
A man is a man is a man. You can't change that.
You cannot change that.
It's going to be, and a woman is a woman is a woman. And I think we should all understand that. We think one way, and men think another way. And, I think that gets very confused. I love being a woman. the greatest thing, I guess.
This ever happened?
The only thing actually, and I love it. But that doesn't mean to say I have a lesser brain. It doesn't mean to say I have to say that I want to compete with men. I do not want to compete with men. I just want to have my own place, do my own thing, and think with my own brain. That's all.
And that's a fair game.
And I like men. I ask more men actually about business than I do women. Because usually women go into makeup and dressing and where did you buy this and where did you... I'm not really interested in that at all. I'm more interested in the business side of life.
I agree.
But so I think this... So how do we change this whole thing? How do we get... What have you come up with regarding a father and daughter? What is your best thing you think you can do?
The best thing that we can do is Pimp Proof.
Pimp Proof. That's on your thing, pimpproof.com. Remember that. Go to pimpproof.com.
That's the best thing we can do.
That's the best thing. And then what's in there that will attract women or men or everybody, even the young girls young girls can go there and see what's going on.
Sure they do. And they do oftentimes, significantly. So the reason why that's the best, because when you talk about coercion and manipulation, when a girl gets into a situation where she needs to know the game and she doesn't know the game, she will get played in the game.
Absolutely.
And when you get played in the game, you're going to get hurt.
Yep.
If you get
If
hurt...
you don't know the game, you don't play the game.
You don't play the game.
Yep.
And when you get hurt, you don't think like you think when you're not hurt. So you make decisions, you do things, but if you understand how to pimp proof in the streets and in the sheets...
And can help you. Now, another thing, they've got an awful lot of dating online.
Oh,
Dating
tremendous.
online is like the biggest thing that's come out, especially with the COVID-19 and everything else. But also dating online with these young kids. They're all, and the guys, they don't know who the guy is. So they don't know if it's an older person, a young person. They don't know who it is because the guy can say he's anybody.
That's correct.
And so they don't know. And he's feeding them everything they want to know. All the love they're not getting, they're getting with this guy.
And that's the pimp proof. So this is where, when we say to fathers, because fathers may have basically been a part of the game at some point in time in their life. So if you are going to love her, care for her, affirm her, make sure she's protected, make sure she's educated, make sure her money's right.
Keep an eye on her.
Keep an eye on her.
24 hours a day. And it's so funny because we look at the teenagers and my thing has always been, don't worry about the child between the time it's born and sort of, I'll say 10, maybe 8, but don't worry about that. They're more safe at that age, at home, alone, than they are from 10 years old up to 18.
That's right.
That is where trouble starts. And I'm not saying trouble as of trouble, I'm saying that's where hormones start to come in. They start getting curious. Everybody is like, they've got this whatever it is, sex thing going on. I've never been involved in that sort of thing. But at the same time, I'm not going to be naive. I had a children's show called Voices of Tomorrow for 16 years.
Wow.
I dealt with a lot of this. I mean, I can remember going to someone's home. I'm not going to say whereabouts it was in Los Angeles. And the little girl, her father had left, and the mother was lying on the sofa or something, a little girl and a little boy, and she'd been raped by her father before he left for work. I mean, and I was shocked, but not surprised.
And you had the right reaction. And it happens a lot.
It does. We don't know, but it does.
Yeah,
and the kids are afraid to say anything.
And you know what? Part of the positioning that we have with pimp proofing and Daughters' Lives Matter, no silence, no shame. You cannot be quiet on things that may get other people in trouble that are
affecting you,
that are part of who you are and how they affect you. Mental health.
So I think the best thing that I could possibly say is if things are not how you think they should be, at least talk to your mother, talk to your aunt, talk to your girlfriend, mention it to somebody. Don't feel ashamed of something that you feel ashamed of. Don't feel ashamed and wanting to speak out there, even though you're ashamed of what might happen or you're not sure what it is, right?
That's correct.
Just speak out there and just it doesn't matter. You're going to help maybe 100 other little girls out there or something by speaking out. I don't know. I would think so.
You are correct. And I think this is where it comes down to, when you ask me what's the best thing we can do, is raise awareness. That's why we do pimpproof.com. Raise awareness about speaking out and about challenging fathers.
Yeah.
Become the better person and the man for her.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
just
let's
because
praise
he-
our men up a little bit more.
Yes, I agree.
Let's praise them up. You know, we're always, oh, it's his fault, it's his fault, it's his fault. And let's just give them a little bit more. I mean, I've always thought that men are absolutely great and women are great and children are wonderful. Children are part. You know, I don't know if anybody realizes it out here, but our children right now are going to be leading the world.
True.
So what we feed into them now, they're going to grow up and they're going to lead us. We're going to go back because we either older or whatever the case may be, passing away even. But I think we need to sort of gear into their future. How do we want our children, whether you've got 2, 1, 6, doesn't matter how many, what do you want with these children? What do you want them to be? And I think we need to explain that to the child. I think the child has to know.
Well said.
Is that well said?
That's well said.
Okay. Yay!
Yeah, Ninon, you
Okay.
did get there.
Terry, how
Yeah.
can anybody reach you? I know it's all over here, but
Yeah.
it looks like pinkproof.com.
Yeah, that's how you reach us. You go to www.pimpproof.com, and that will take care of the rest of all you need to know. Get a chance to learn what we're doing. That's where we at.
And that's what we are. And also we're out there to help not only the young girls, the young boys, mums, dads, even grandparents. Come on in, help. You know more than all of us know. I love grandparents. I always did, because they always seem to know everything, and there was never anything attached to it. You could ask your grandparents anything at all. There was nothing attached to anything,
That's
and they were so happy
Yeah.
to help you.
And send you home, because they can send you home.
Yeah, and then they send you home
Yeah.
because then you go home and they're fine. I love it.
Wow.
Thank you for watching Vegas Live with Ninon, and again, don't forget to go to YouTube and subscribe to our show. Let us also know whether you like it and what I can do to make it better. You know, you can always make yourself better, including myself. But I don't like watching my own shows because I don't like what I do. But I guess I do. We'll be right back with the next guest, and you take care. If you enjoyed the last show we just did and all the other shows, don't forget to subscribe. Vegas Live with Ninon on YouTube. We've got plenty more coming up, and our guests are amazing. So don't forget to subscribe. We'll be right back. Vegas Live with Ninon.